start our meeting. Now we have two public hearings. The way the public hearings work is I'll announce the public hearing, then we'll have staff give a little summary of what the issue's about. Then anyone that wishes to come forward and speak on the public hearing, I'll point to you, whatever, raise your hand, and then come up, give your name, tell us what you've got to say, and then once we get done with all the people that want to speak on the first public hearing, we'll move to the second public hearing. Then we go into our regular session, and during the regular session, we will be discussing the two items that were for public hearing and making decisions probably on those. So the first public hearing is PZ item 14-02, public hearing concerning an application to amend the zoning code and official map by changing the classification of approximately 30 acres owned by Mary Sue Hartman et al. And located at 6518 West Farm Road 148 from agricultural AG to light industrial M1. Jared?
Just as the title reads, this will rezone approximately 30 acres from the agricultural district to the light industrial M1 district. This property is located at the southeast corner of State Highway MM and Farm Road 148. It has a Farm Road 148 address, but it does have quite a bit of frontage on State Highway MM. It's likely its initial development will be addressed to the front on the State Highway rather than the Farm Road.
Anyone wish to speak? Yes, ma'am?
This may not be the proper time to do it, but you've only got one owner on here.
Et al. Means and others.
Oh, well, we're equal owners, we're sisters.
Okay.
I apologize for that. We put whatever shows up on Greene County's records is what we write in there. And when we looked it up this time, it said et al.
That's not going to affect the zoning change.
It just kind of set me back.
Well, you didn't know who that et al. Was?
Yeah, no.
I've never heard of that guy.
No, I didn't either.
Anyone wish to speak on this hearing? Yes, sir, come forward, please. Tell us who you are.
Good evening, my name's Bob Notch, and I'm representing the folks that have applied for the rezoning of this piece of property. And we'd like to buy the piece of property as contingent upon the rezoning because we want to develop it for commercial distribution warehouse, no retail, no manufacturing, but it's strictly warehousing of finished goods, beverages, non-alcoholic and alcoholic beverages. And we respectfully request that the zoning be put through.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Not hearing a clatter of feet coming forward, I'll close that hearing. We'll go to the second hearing. PZ item 14-03, public hearing concerning an application for a special use permit for a group daycare home owned and operated by Jennifer Richards and located at 814 East Harrison Street in Republic, Missouri. Eric?
This issue will be a recommendation to the City Council on whether or not to approve a special use permit which will allow Ms. Richards to operate a group daycare home which will permit her to care for up to 10 children at any given time from this place of residence located on Harrison Street.
Does anyone wish to speak on this hearing? Yes, ma'am.
I am Jennifer Richards, and I currently have been doing daycare in my home for going on 6 years now. I started it initially just to watch one of my best friend's little daughters, and I quickly learned that it was the job that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I really enjoy it. I quickly started picking up more kids, and I'm sorry, I'm really nervous. I'm not used to speaking to adults.
Wait, where are they?
Sorry. But in recent months, I passed all state fire and sanitation requirements to become state licensed, and I just got my state license for up to 10 kids. So I'm trying to get, the special use permit so that I can get my license through the city of Republic to also have a campaign. Sorry, I had to make a little card. Okay, I guess that's.
Is that your residence?
Yes, that's where I live. I've lived there for, I think, about 11 years. So, and it's just down the street from the post office. Yep. And I have a fenced-in backyard, that's where the kids play, so they're not up front close to the road, or I have 2 kids of my own, and. Thank you, sorry, so many.
It's no problem at all. Thank
All right,
you for
thanks.
your comments. Does anyone else wish to speak?
Me.
Yes, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Jamie Cackett. She actually watches both of my kids right now. She is wonderful, and she treats my kids like they're her own. She honestly cares for them when one of them's sick. She's texting me wanting to know how they're doing throughout the day, wanting to know if their fever's gone. And I'm a teacher, so over winter break and summer break, she doesn't see them quite so often. She texts me and calls me wanting to know how they are. And over Christmas, she actually asked if Kendall could come over and play with one of the other girls because she missed my daughter. And so I took her over just for like a little play date, and she's just really good at what she does, and there's definitely no issues on the personal front. As for this being an issue with any of the surroundings, I mean, she currently watches 6 kids, and so this would only be increasing it to 10, which honestly is probably 2 families, because most families have 2 kids, so I really don't think it'll be a drastic change by any means into the surroundings. Most of it, I really don't feel like you can even tell from the front yard. I mean, you can see toys in the backyard, but I was just telling her that I feel like my backyard looks more like a daycare than her stuff, because we have toy galore in our backyard. But I just wanted to give my highest recommendation that she is wonderful at what she does, and she will do a great job.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? I'm going to close that hearing. We'll move into our regular meeting. The first item of business on our regular meeting is the review and approval of minutes of the March 31, 2014 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Brian?
Very delicious. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 31st, 2014.
There's a second.
I wasn't here, so you got it there a second.
George second. Any discussion on the motion? Call the roll, please.
Richard Ellis,
Aye.
Brian Vandershaf,
Aye.
George Norris,
Aye.
Jeff Ressler,
Aye.
Ken Sawyer,
Motion carried. Next item is citizen participation.
Well, it's just something that you came in late.
Yeah, you came in late.
Right here.
You only have half of us.
Speaking of late, you know, I don't look at the time on this thing, it's 7 o'clock every month.
You're fine.
A little, heads up my meltdown.
I forgot my tardy slips. Next item of business is citizen participation. Anybody that wishes to come and talk to us on any item other than those that were in the hearing, if you'd want to talk, you should come forward. Can do so now. Let me take it, Betty, you're not even going to say anything?
Short meeting.
All right, well, no old business, so we move to new business. The first item is PZ item 14-02, discussion and possible vote to recommend the approval of an application to amend the zoning code and official map by changing the classification of approximately 30 acres owned by Mary Sue Hartman and your sister, her sister?
Norma Shampo.
Okay. Not at all. At all, and located at 6518 West Farm Road, 148 from agricultural to light industrial.
This particular rezone is not unlike several of the others we've considered recently. Fronting on State Highway MN, a rezone for the light industrial district located north of James River. Transportation is obviously fed from Interstate 44, also from James River, and through State Highway MN. Municipal utilities are not on site. detailed plans for the development. So once they know what the development is exactly, I know the gentleman described a potential use, but here we consider the full breadth of what could be possible. But once MoDOT knows the specific use, the specific traffic demands that will come along with that use, the actual location of buildings, parking lots, and requested access points, then they will decide what to permit and what improvements they may need at that point.
Lemon Street, there was thought about maybe putting a middle lane somewhere in between there, if you got a lot of trucks turning in and out, and then you got traffic coming at 55, 60 miles an hour, those trucks are stopping.
At that
That
point,
may be something just to concern.
there is a point at which improvements like that are warranted, or a traffic signal may be warranted. MoDOT will take that into consideration, and once, like I said, once they've looked at that specific information, they may require the developer to produce a detailed traffic study that says, here are anticipated traffic demands. And if it meets their MoDOT specific warrant, then they'll say, we can't issue permits until these improvements are made.
And it's all tied in, plus the rezoning
Right.
process.
And they saw the
That's part of it.
application, right, they saw the application for light industrial, and they did not anticipate that any of those warrants would be met by this 30 acres. At some point in the future, it's gonna happen.
No, I see what you're saying about the big picture.
Right.
I can see, and I agree, I can see and agree with that. It is a little different from the previous land use, but the bigger picture of other industrial out there, that's gonna make it full traffic.
Is this property just to the south, is that C2?
Yes, sir.
And what's on that right now?
No.
And the property directly across in, that's, is that in?
That's M2.
M2?
Industrial.
What is that?
That is Carnahan Street.
Okay.
And Herman Lumber.
And Herman Lumber.
Right across the, his car.
John Deere somewhere out there too.
Yeah,
They're a little
down
more
further. Yes.
I mean, I can see that whole area between the tracks and up to 44 going this way.
Yeah. What's in this little rectangle that's kind of gonna stay agricultural?
That's church.
Yeah.
I'm presuming if they, we pass this forward, of course, here again, 30 acres, you can put a lot of buildings on 30 acres, it's all commercial. And one building, or two or three, couple buildings with trucks is one thing, but if we approve it, and they put a building now, but if they start to add more, at that point, then that's where MoDOT could come in and say, all right, now you're putting too much there, we need to do something with roads.
That's correct. Every additional request for new development will require permits from either the city and or MoDOT. And so it will be up to one of those two public agencies to deny the permit unless necessary infrastructure.
If we approve this whole section of property here, I mean, it's this whole L piece, right?
Yes, it is.
What I'm saying is there could be a lot of buildings put on that, he could go in with a couple buildings now, and that would be fine for the road, but if they decide to subdivide that or put more buildings up at that point, would they have to go back and with MoDOT at that time, or is it, since it's already approved now, I wouldn't have to do that?
No, each.
Every piece.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure I understood that, okay. They've got a different turn lane there down there coming off of Carnahan Street, but it doesn't go down, I don't think, as far as.
I don't think it's 148, which it'd be a little towards this way, so it'd be 148. One, I said, they look into that time goes on, and start to rezone of the area, agree with that, the development that's gone on previously.
All right, Brian, you're a man, go ahead, you like doing it.
Make a motion to recommend approval of the application to amend the zoning code and official map by changing the classification of approximately 30 acres owned by Mary Sue Hartman and sister in all, and located at 6518 West Farm Road 148 from agriculture AG to light industrial N1.
I'll make a second on that.
Any discussion on the motion?
Kim Sawyer,
Aye.
Jeff Ressler,
Aye.
George Norris,
Aye.
Brian Vandershat,
Aye.
Spencer Miller.
Aye. Move to our next item. PC item 14-03, discussion and possible vote to recommend the approval of an application for special use permit for a group daycare home owned and operated by Anthony Richards and located at 814 East Garrison Street in McCalla, Missouri.
As I mentioned before, this will permit Ms. Richards to care for up to 10 children from this particular place of residence. What we're really considering here, the state regulates and enforces the safety requirements for these types of daycares. The city doesn't get involved in that. What we regulate is the land use portion of things. So what we're looking at here is owners of residential property in the single-family residential districts are permitted by right to care for up to 6 children. If they want to go up more than 6, between 6 and 10, they require a special use permit. If they go over 10, you can't do it from your home. You gotta go find a commercial location. She's currently caring for 6. She would like to increase that from between 7 and 10, which requires this permit. What we're considering here, factors to consider, I've listed here in the exhibit, possibility of increased traffic volumes, and those impacts pickups and drop-offs, likely twice a day. Any safety considerations, if those traffic volumes increase significantly, increased noise concerns, aesthetic impact, those types of things. I have been to see the property. It is in a neighborhood setting. It's surrounded entirely by residential uses, closer to US Highway 60 than some of the other group daycare homes that have been considered over the last few years. Staff tries to look at each of these the same, and like the exhibit says, we did not see any remarkable concerns. Nothing about this request that was significantly different from the other requests that have come before this body that have been approved. Now, there was one recently, you remember, that did not get approved, that had some significant differences. This one, we don't see those differences here. So that's kind of the situation in the environment. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Have you received any comment from the neighbors?
I have not received any comment from the neighbors.
And no one came forward to comment?
I was not here in the
For the
office
purpose of
today.
the hearing?
I don't know or don't remember, does it require another employee up to 10? Can she do that by herself?
The state handles that situation, and it depends, if I remember correctly, it depends on number of children and also those children's ages. So if another employee is required, the state will have to do another inspection, I assume, issue a new license, yes.
Well, that's one thing, here's the thing, right now, I don't suppose she has to have state come in and inspect her, right? At this point, up to 6, the state does not come in and inspect her up to 6. So this is actually now, they're gonna be inspecting where maybe they haven't in the past.
You would need the
Yeah,
state
right.
license.
No, anything over 4, you have to be state licensed for over 4. So now that I have 6, I have my state license, and they can come do surprise, the fire marshal can do, surprise inspections for the fire department, and then sanitation inspections, and then my regular licensing workers, so
Right.
they do those now.
They don't require them at this point in time to have a privacy fence, a chain link fence, is right with the state then, I guess?
They require a fence over a certain height, and my chain link fence in my backyard was actually not high enough. So we built a fence inside my chain link fence for an area specifically for the kids. And it's actually for the capacity that I'm required to have, you're supposed to have, I think, I don't remember how many feet it was per kid, but I tripled the area that I was required to have. So the area I have is nice and big for all the kids.
And it's completed at this
Right,
point.
it has a locking gate on it and everything, so it's just for the kids. So,
Okay.
but yes, I completed that prior to getting the state license.
Okay, thank you.
And that special use permit doesn't ride with that property.
council to use discretion. They may put a time limit on the validity of the special use permit. They may restrict it to just this one property owner. They can let it go with the property if they want. The normal situation is, the council has issued it to that particular owner for the duration of their residence at that location, at that specific address. That's been what I have seen in almost every case. But it's possible that, and this body can make a recommendation on that. Right now, in the ordinance, it's just left blank for council to fill in. So if the commission wants to make a recommendation, that's the norm, is it's to that property owner for the duration of their residence.
I don't think it ought to go carry on with the property, but I mean, if council's already taken care of that, I'm assuming it is whatever.
That's what staff recommends.
Go for it.
Make a, motion to recommend the approval of an application for a special use permit for a group daycare home owned and operated by Jennifer Richards and located at 814 East Harrison Street in Republic, Missouri.
Yes. Second. Any discussion on this motion? Anybody want to tag it with anything? I'm not suggesting that, I'm just.
No, I'm sorry.
That was floating around here.
I think city council will handle it properly.
That's great, that makes it simple. We got a motion, we got a second.
Ransom Ellis,
Aye?
Brian Vandershaft,
Aye.
George North,
Aye.
Jeff Wrestler,
Aye.
Ken Sawyer.
Aye.
All right. There's only one item of business.
Motion to adjourn.
Any second? Call the roll.
Ken Sawyer,
Yes.
Jeff Wrestler,
Aye.
George North,
Aye.
Brian Vandershaft,
Aye.
Ransom Ellis.
Aye. Thank you all for coming.